had to go home and cry to my mom and my dad like I ain't never been, you know what I'm saying? And they only thing they could do is just sit me down like and then go over and talk to me about why Rosa Parks said no and why Martin Luther King said this and why Malcolm X did this and George, and just give me the roots. And so it's not about the teachings of it, it's about more of the coping mechanism I think we have as a society.
Okay, I get that. I'm sure there's parts of what he's saying that you get.
Yeah.
And there's parts that you may not be agreeing with. So how do you feel?
Well, I do agree with him in some parts because it's like, you know, as I'm going to give an example. As I'm coming up, I've always been a larger kid, and people used to call me fat boy. So in order to cope with that, I used to call myself, hey, I'm a fat boy. You know, I made jokes about myself. So I think that's the same thing that blacks are doing with the N-word. It's been used as a negative thing so much, so we say, hey, we're going to take this back. We're not going to let you hurt me anymore with this word, and we're going to flip it. But at the same time, it's like the reason why I don't think that this word should be used anymore is because you can't tell somebody, hey, we can use this word, or this group can use this word, but y'all can't use this word. And I think the best way to do that, if we're really trying to diversify, if we're really trying to come together as a people between blacks, whites, Latinos, I think we have to stop saying like, hey, you can't use this word, we can use this word. We can abolish that word, so therefore we can really get to understand each other and really come together.
Okay, now do you make the distinction between the ER and the A or the AH at the end of the word?
Yeah, I make a distinction. I think.
So if a white guy comes up to you and calls you nigga, you ain't gonna be upset about that?
No, okay, I'll take that back. No, I will be upset.
So then why?
Because, like I said, it's like...
What did the acronym stand for, Jamar? It stood for what?
Never ignorant get goals accomplished.
Well, if that's what he's calling you, then that's nothing to be upset about, right?
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, you automatically assume it really depends on the white guy. If I know this white guy, you know, comes maybe from the same background as I came, or maybe is really coming from that. From the background is he really understand what I'm understanding. If he understands that, then I might look at it as a different light.
So if he's a poor white boy, he can call you that. A poor white boy from 8 Mile can call you that.
Yeah.
Or if
Really?
he's a friend.
Yeah. If he's my friend, then, you know, I can understand that more.
Okay. So, you know, I'll tell you, I hear this word endearment only one time. I travel a lot. I talk to a lot of people. The only time in a sentence I ever hear people use the word endearment is in this argument. Because they'll say, well, that word is a term of what? Endearment. Yeah. I never hear the word any other time in any sentence. And so I ask myself, is it really? And that's what I'm hearing you say. And that's what I believe, certainly as a kid, when I was talking to my friends, that this was a term of endearment. Yo, what's up? You know, like that, right? And then I start thinking, okay, do we have other words of endearment that could function in that way as a substitute? I don't know. I'll throw one out. Fool. Brother. No, fool. Why not brother? You call me fool every time I call you on the telephone. You need to stop that, too, by the way. You know, treat me with some respect, baby.
But that's a term of endearment.
Okay, but why would we take the most harshest, venomous term? I get the coping mechanism part. I think, for example, that in the lesbian community, they've tried to do that with the word dyke. You know, to take some of the sting out of it, to take the venom out of it. I get that. I do get it. And I think minority communities do that a lot. But it seems like if usage of the word, even as a term of endearment, was going to get rid of the venom, the many millions of times we've used that in our community, that word would have no more venom, would it? Then why would it matter to you if a white guy called you that, Jamar?
When you say endearment, you not taking the fact of the matter of you know better than I know. That word will forever have venom. That's like the war of all wars. It's never gonna end. You know when you understand like you do, and you making me understand the history of the word. No matter how many times I can call my homeboys that, or my peoples that I call my peeps, my family, my friends, if you outside of my circle, if you outside of my jurisdiction where I won't lay hands on you, I won't give you verbal discretions and won't put you in a situation, you can't call me that. It's just certain things you cannot do if you don't know me like that. You may see me out there, but you don't know me.
Okay, but it seems like we're finding some common ground. We agree that word sometimes has venom.
All the times has.
Okay, now you're making my point.
It's all the time coming from the spectrum that don't understand even ever being
Okay.
what a nigga is.
Okay.
So when we say in the instance of my white friends that I say, you know what, you definitely is me. And I see you as my brother, as my equal. So there's no, race has no boundary. And I have friends that's like that, rest in peace. One died in this community, you know what I'm saying? And to understand that and say the ones that's outside of that journey that just want to act or don't even know how ever been segregated, racism, or ever had to experience anything other than that, and they call you that, how can they be calling you that in friend? How can you be calling me that in friend if you never knew how this life or world is of being N-word?
Okay, I get that.
We want to sanitize the language. You know, the French have tried that for many years to say, they kept saying, let's keep all these English words out. Let's don't let them violate the kind of Francophone circle behind which we live, behind which we navigate and socialize and all like that. But they can't do it. They can't root out English. You go to France, the third thing you hear is somebody saying the weekend or something. They or cool. They'll use that word. And you're looking at the language phenomena, and this is what this word means. I don't want to pull rank on the young brothers here, but the language phenomena sometimes seems to have a life of its own, which is just extraordinary. That's what we study. That's what we do when we look at language sociologically or linguistically. We look at how the phenomena is really almost uncontrollable. Staggering to behold, though, for those of us who have used or still use or have heard or and still hear the word spoken. So.
Do you accept that a word's meaning can change?
They do change.
Okay.
Over history,
Okay.
over time. But as I said earlier, now 37 years ago, this one guy said the N word was out, but we still have it. Then some people started spelling it differently, but but to hear it, people you can't walk around with a placard saying I'm meaning the Niggah word. You can't. That's not going to happen. We are a speaking community.
Okay. I actually think the word has like 10 or 20 different meanings.
Probably.
But I think a lot of those are negative. And we're on TV. I was going to say national TV. We're on local TV and live television. And so I don't want to use some of the context, but I can tell you this, that a lot of times, and you've seen this, when African Americans use that word and direct it against another African American, they mean it with some venom.
Yeah.
And
The operative word is
see
against.
It in fights.
Yeah.
You see it in fights when people are throwing with each other. There's this really despicable thing going on in our culture where people videotape fights, put it on the internet and sell them, whatever. And they have something called ghetto fights. I don't know if you're familiar with this.
No.
Where one day, get that, and instead of watching the fights, just listen to what the young brothers are calling each other as they fight. And the one thing I'm sure of in this world is that they are not using those words as terms of endearment right then.
No.
Now, that doesn't mean it can't be used as that. I find that problematic, but I can certainly say to this, it is foolhardy for us to assume that every time a brother uses it with another brother, even if they come from the same neighborhood, even if they share a history of oppression, that they're using the word the same way.
And see, what you got to understand about that is situational understanding. In that situation at that time, being the into it, angry, aggressive, and in that manner, I'm a strong believer of that word fit good in the sentence. You arguing, and like
why?
Like
You can't make the
N
point.
word, please.
But why?
N word, you better, or
Right.
it has been with the B word the same way. B, we woo woo woo, and B, because that just so, and it may be individuals is not taking their chance to be enlightened and learn different words to use, it or just plain out laziness, one or the other. But at the same time, when I hear it in the context of a argument or a fight, it's still the same. That's just because that's who we are. And it's adapted as that. I don't think it's no more less than 5 minutes ago I told to him, "What's up, my N word?" And then 10 minutes ago, my man and pushed me up. N word, I'm about to get you. That's just like in the 70s. It was like some words y'all used to use.
Yeah, I know. We
Y'all
use the
used to
same
use
ones
them?
you used, unfortunately.